November! I am so excited. You guys know how much I love fall on this channel, but November is an extra special month here on the Savvy Writes Books channel. And why is that? Well, it's right there in the name, Savvy Writes Books. November is a month for writing books because, guys, we are officially in Nanowrimo season!
Get you some nuts.
There was lots of memes.
Makes me wonder if I should take up lesbianism.
Chicago. You guys asked for it.
What's up, my fellow small business supporters? I'm Savvy. Welcome back to Savvy Writes Books, the channel where we talk about books and business, where today it is all about the books and all about the writing. I've even got myself some tea right here in my 90s Kids mug. Linked in the description below. You can get this on SavvyWritesBooks.com. The 90s Kids mug is from 90s Kids, which is the most recent young adult novel that I released. I released it back in June of 2021. And while I didn't write that novel for Nanowrimo, I did write it during the fall quarter. Oh, I almost spilled that. I did write it during the fall quarter in my grad school program, so it was in a Nanowrimo-like challenge. Now, you may be saying, Savvy, what is Nanowrimo? And for those of you who already know what it is, Savvy, what are you doing for it? All of that will be answered. But first, please do take a minute to subscribe because multiple times a week I put out new videos about books and business on this channel. You won't want to miss those, so make sure you ring the little notification bell as well because then you'll get notified when new videos come out. And in addition to that, don't forget to check out my second channel, Your Morning Guru, which is my second channel for live streaming and doing daily morning shows. That one is linked in the description below as well. And especially if this Nanowrimo stuff sounds exciting to you and you want to participate in some writing challenges with me, that channel is a great place to do it because we often do live writing streams, live journaling, and we just have a great sense of community for building like creative community over there. So go ahead and check that out as well. What is Nanowrimo? For those of you who are on this channel that didn't come from like the books and writing realm and came here from like the business ethics side of the channel, you may not be familiar with Nanowrimo. It stands for National Novel Writing Month, and it is a yearly challenge that happens every year in November. There are also like NaNoWrimos that happen during the summer, like Camp NaNoWrimo. Like there are other things that happen, but like the big one that the majority of people take part in is in November every year. And the goal of the challenge is to write a first draft of your novel within that 30 days of November. You can sign up to be on the NaNoWrimo website and like get updates from them and stuff, but I don't normally do stuff with the website as much or like join the organizations officially. I usually just work on writing stuff and like talk about it on the internet and give you guys updates, talk about it on Writer Twitter, talk about it here, talk about it with my writing friends, and do stuff on streams so that we can still have that sense of writing community. And I have done NaNoWrimo multiple times in the past. It's a very fun challenge to complete. Actually, my novel Sculpt Yourself was written in the 2017 NaNoWrimo. That's when I wrote the first draft of that novel. I completed it during the 30-day challenge, and that novel then came out in 2018. NaNoWrimo in 2020 was when RK and I wrote the first draft of our first book together, Cancel Sean Boston. That was a NaNoWrimo challenge as well. So I've had good experiences with this challenge. I failed NaNoWrimo in 2019 because I started writing Savvy Business Owner, but I'd actually started writing like a different book, and then in the middle of the month I changed my mind on what I was going to write. And then I started Savvy Business Owner, which is now a complete book and is out and is available, linked in the description below and all of that. However, I didn't start writing that at the beginning of the month, so I didn't finish it. I had to finish it later, which actually turned out to be a good thing because when COVID hit a couple months later, all my business advice had to get a little bit updated, right? A lot of things changed. But my point is I've had a lot of good experiences with this 30-day writing challenge, and I'm very excited to take part in it again this year. In fact, if you want to join in with me on the Your Morning Guru Discord, which I will link down in the description below. We have a Discord server for the Your Morning Guru community. You can join in there, and we have a channel for writing stuff, and then we also have a channel specifically for NaNoWrimo. So if you want to meet some other people who are writing and talk about stuff, you can join us over there. So that's kind of the basic premise of NaNoWrimo is you want to write the first draft of your book in 30 days. Generally, the challenge that people go for is 50,000 words. So the idea is if you can write 50,000 words in 30 days, you completed the challenge. The first draft of your novel, you're book might be on the longer side. You know, a lot of like epic fantasy and stuff is in the 100,000 word range and things like that. So maybe you only write the first half of your novel, or maybe you're writing some shorter books. Maybe you're writing a series of novellas, so you might write, you know, 2 books, 2 shorter books or something like that total up to 50,000 words. But most people go with the 50,000 word goal, assuming that on average that's going to be approximately the length of some people's first drafts. This year for NaNoWriMo, I have a project that I'm working on. Actually, a couple projects that I'm working on. So first, if you guys have been tuning into the writing live streams that we've had on the Your Morning Guru channel, which we've been doing on Saturdays. We haven't had them consistently every Saturday, but we've been for the most part doing them on Saturdays. If you've tuned into any of those writing streams, then you've probably seen that RK and I have now completed the first draft of the sequel to Cancel Sean Boston. It's a book called Cancel Elise Shiloh, and it takes one of the side characters from the first book and talks about her internet cancellation and things like that. There's a bunch of more internet drama in that book. There's a family vlog, there's a crypto scam, there's some of those like influencers trying to do nice things for homeless people for their own ego kind of thing. There's like all that kind of stuff in there. So this book is weirder than the first one, and I think it's pretty funny. We've got a lot of changes to make on that though. So that is going to be something we're going to be continually working on throughout the month, but because we already have the first draft of that book completed, that is not going to be my NaNoWriMo project because that draft is completed already. Instead, I am going to be working on a new project, which I have talked about a little bit on Instagram, but are you guys ready for this project? It's called, it is called The Boss Babes. It is called The Boss Babes. So I have been so into like dissecting girl boss culture and into the anti-MLM movement and talking about like women in entrepreneurship and things like that on this channel. That's the whole other side other than the books and writing element of this channel. So I was like, I really need to combine these things. If you guys remember, I did Savvy Business Owner. That's my first nonfiction book, and that book's about business. But I was like, it would be really fun to write a like fiction crime drama series about an MLM company and a journalist who's trying to save her career and wants to take down an MLM company in the process because that's the company that cost her career in the first place. Ooh, lots of interesting stuff going on. This series, I had started outlining and doing the series Bible for months ago, and the original title for it was Shampire because it was supposed to be like Sham and Empire. I considered Scampire as well, but I wanted it to be Shampire because one of the main characters' last name is Shamper, so I thought that would be kind of funny. But then every time I told people about it, they thought that there were vampires in it, and I felt really bad for letting them down because there's no vampires in this series. They thought there was going to be like some boss babe vampires, which like would be some really cool fan fiction. Like if after I write it, you want to write it as fan fiction, go ahead. But I was like, I need to change the title because it's going to disappoint people when there's no vampires in this, and I didn't want to disappoint anyone. So I changed the name to The Boss Babes as the name for the series as a whole. And because this series is going to be made up of novellas, I've decided that instead of writing a 50,000 word first novel draft for NaNoWriMo, my goal is going to be to write the first draft of the first 3 books, which are going to be about 20,000 words each. So that's my goal for that. I want to write the first 3 novellas and see if I can get those drafts done during this wonderful month of November. And the reason for that is that I really want to try out the rapid release model of publishing. I haven't done rapid release before. I've talked about it a little bit on this channel, but basically rapid release is popular, especially in the self-publishing world, particularly in genre fiction. So mainly things like romance, erotica, sometimes sci-fi and fantasy and things like that. But in genres where you have a series that you want to publish and you can get a core reader base who is looking for things in that series, who is going to keep coming back to that series and reading more, if you release them quickly, it performs well in the Amazon algorithm and you can end up selling a lot more books. I'd recommend checking out the week on Your Morning Guru that we did following Chris Fox, who is kind of a writing guru himself. And actually, I don't consider him a scammer. I think a lot of his advice is actually very good, but we read some of his books and learned a little bit about that. So I can link some of those videos in the description below if you want to take a look at those. But one of the things that we learned from him was that, you know, Amazon really favors books that come out 60 days apart or less. So if you have a book in a series and you have a core group of readers and then they go and buy the next book in the series, if they keep that up every 60 days, Amazon's going to reward you for that. Now, the book that we read that in came out a couple years ago, and internet algorithms change constantly with the times, so I cannot confirm definitively whether 60 days is still going to be the magic number. I am not an Amazon guru whatsoever. However, it is something I want to try because I've heard from a lot of independent authors that the rapid release model of releasing a book every 2 to 3 months, putting out 4 to 6 books a year within the same series or the same genre is a very good way to build a core audience who's interested in those specific books. So that's what I want to try with The Boss Babes. Let me tell you the premise for the series The Boss Babes. The premise is a failed journalist finds an old, lost, out-of-print book which opens up 70 years. That's between 1950 to 2020. This series spans 70 years, which opens up 70 years of a nearly lost history about the Shamper family. Starting as a poor Mormon family in Utah in the mid-20th century, the Shampers mobilized into a group of multi-billionaires charged with operating 5 pyramid schemes with a hidden cast of convicted felons in their midst. Hoping to salvage her career, the journalist exposes all of the Shamper family's secrets, leading to years of legal battles, sabotage, and overall chaos. So that is the series overall description, and now I am currently working on book 1, which I have been outlining and I've been writing. I actually wrote it as like a screenplay draft first, thinking it would be fun to make it as like a TV series, but y'all, I don't have the budget for that, so maybe in the future. But this is the summary of book 1. I don't have a synopsis of book 2 ready yet, so you just have to wait for that. But Book 1 synopsis is, after releasing a bombshell hit piece about a multi-level marketing empire that lands its founder in prison, 31-year-old journalist Zoe Gordon is mysteriously discredited, fired, and forced to move back to her hometown of Pepper Falls, Indiana, where she can't even get local work anymore. So fun fact, Pepper Falls, Indiana is the same town that Sean Boston is from. The puppet Sean Boston back here, he is from that town too. So these books, I'm kind of trying to connect all the fictional universes. So while the cancel Sean Boston universe, none of it really takes place in Indiana, I decided that all my small town romance and genre fiction stuff that takes place in a small town is going to take place in the same universe as the cancel Sean Boston universe. Because I was like, that'd be fun to connect everything. Okay, so anyway, she has to move back to that town. Zoe knows there has to be more to the story, but no editor will touch her with a 10-foot pole. In 1950, Sandra Shamper, wife of a fraudulent toy creator, sister of a still unknown criminal, and mother to 6 children, decides to document the story of her big Mormon family growing up in a small town. Little does she know who her children will grow up to be. While unpacking and moving in with her fiancé in 2020, Zoe discovers a mysterious, out-of-print book in the attic that may just hold the keys to the truth of why she was fired, plus a ton of information that may just save her career. So that is the summary of book 1, and then from there, we're going to go into book 2, book 3, and more is going to be revealed about this whole history, and it's going to span 70 years worth of time. So this is a new challenge that I'm doing. I want it to be a 10-book series. That's my goal right now. I've outlined, like roughly outlined, when I say outlined, I mean like written a small synopsis for. I've roughly outlined the first, 6 of them. And so I'm now working on writing the first 3, the drafts of books 1 through 3 for NaNoWriMo this year. I hope that you guys enjoy it. I'm going to be giving updates along the way as I go. Let me know if during this month you want any writing vlogs or anything. Writing vlogs tend to perform pretty badly on my channel, so I don't make a ton of them because I don't know if people are really interested in them. But if you are interested in them, please let me know below, or I might do some kind of Patreon exclusive thing for that. By the way, if you haven't, look in the description below where my Patreon supporters can link things. That's pretty cool. Thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys are great. But yeah, maybe I'll do a special Patreon thing for that. I don't know. I've got a couple ideas for what I might do. So just let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on all of that. So that is what I'm currently working on for NaNoWriMo. Additionally, I am working on a draft of another nonfiction book. As I mentioned earlier, Savvy Business Owner was my first nonfiction book, and that one came out in September of 2020. So I've been working on a second nonfiction book, which if you guys watch the video I did about taking Gabby Bernstein's author course and roasting it because it was such a scammy course, I hated it. But I did a video about that course, right? And so when I did that video, I decided to try out the course in good faith, meaning I was going to come up with a nonfiction book idea during the course and start writing it. The course was not helpful really at all. However, from bringing Sean Boston the puppet in to do a bit in the video, I came up with an idea for a book that I then started outlining. That book is called Conversations with My Puppet. That's the working title, is Conversations with My Puppet, A Professional's Guide to Playful Creativity. And that book is all about how I use toys, playing with toys, collecting toys, and just the idea of being playful, using toys in games, not as something to speak to my inner child, and not as something to bring me back to the nostalgia of my youth, but rather as a a genuine hobby that does ignite new ideas for business and does actually help me in my career. So it's all about using being playful as a way to help yourself in your career and to help yourself generate writing ideas and creative ideas and things like that. So that's the nonfiction project that I'm working on right now too. I doubt that I'll finish the draft of that during November, just because I am trying to finish the first draft of 3 novellas during November, so we'll see where that all goes. And then I'll also be working on the revisions to the first draft for Cancel Elise Shiloh. So there's a lot of writing projects in the midst. Plus, I also just released my newest book in the Forever Home Friends series called Max the Vampire Kitty. That one's linked in the description below as well. It's our first cat character in the Forever Home Friends series. So I just did that as well. So there's been a lot of projects going on up in the air right now. But I wanted to let you guys know what I'm working on for Nanowrimo. If you're doing Nanowrimo as well, please let me know in the comments below, because I'm very interested in hearing about all of your projects. I'd love to see you guys on some writing streams. I haven't been doing as many of them on this channel just because I've just been live streaming less on this channel in general, since I kind of have a live streaming channel at this point. So if you join me on the Your Morning Guru channel, we regularly do writing live streams over there. We do them almost every Saturday, and sometimes on different days depending how things work out with our schedules. But you can join us over there for some writing streams throughout the month as well if you want to work on your productivity with us while we're working on some writing projects as well. I hope that you guys are getting a great start to your projects. Let me know your thoughts on my projects as well. I'd love to hear from you guys. I love building this online writing community. I think it's really wonderful. I hope you're having a great start to November. I will see you guys again on Friday for another video, but in the meantime, keep on supporting small businesses and have a very creative start to the month. Bye!
Get you some nuts.
There was lots of memes.
Makes me wonder if I should take up lesbianism.
Chicago. You guys asked for it.